Good morning, all. Welcome to Rugby Chat, 1st of November, pinch and punch, 1st of the month and all that. No returns, Jeff. Welcome back, Jeff. How you been? Did you enjoy your long weekend last week?
I did enjoy the long weekend last week. I did miss having a banter with you on Tuesday morning because I had to do a full day in my other job. Um, and yeah, pinching a punch first of the month, and a shout out to my mum and dad for their 64th wedding anniversary today. So, mum and dad, good job. Well done.
64 years. Wow. I'm into my third life term of 22. So, wow, 6 life terms.
Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. Big
they've
congratulations
done
to
well.
Mr. and Mrs. Ellie. Oh, no, that's just, oh. So do they get a, what do you call it, a telegram from the king?
No, no, they don't, unfortunately. I think they did for 60. I think they got something from the Queen for 60 years. But
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
don't know what it is. All good, mate.
So
How's things in
what,
your world anyway? Yeah, because you didn't
oh,
get a chance to rub in the fact that Wellington are Radford Shield winners and NPC winners.
can
So
you say
did you
that
say
again?
that? Yeah, got a problem with the microphone. Yeah,
No, that's why I said you weren't here last week because you wouldn't be, because it was, yeah. Nah, how good's that? To go down there to take out the double. Well done to the Wellington Lions. Unfortunately, they apparently not good enough though to be in the All Blacks. So go figure. Um, yeah,
we
and
both
jumps.
predicted that, didn't we? We both predicted Wellington to. I think I picked 6 and you picked 8 points. So we were spot on there, mate. That role was too much for Canterbury. It was bloody awesome. And so, what's happened to this guy Duplessis Carriffy? What's up with him? Where's he now? Is he with the New
Well,
Zealand
that's
15?
I have no idea. I really don't. I can't keep up with it. I've been looking for up to date stuff. All I saw was that Sam Cane was injured, and I thought, brilliant.
Yeah,
And they bring in, oh God, his name has literally
Billy
left my
Harmon.
brain. Billy,
Billy
yeah,
Harmon.
they bring in Billy Harmon, and I go, what does Duplessis Carefi, the captain of Wellington, the champions, have to do to get into that team?
Mm.
Really? I mean, um, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Sam Cane was missing in action in that game against Japan, and I was watching it, and it was a Dirt Trackers team that was playing. Uh, Hoskins Tutu, I believe, has not done himself any favors. Um, there was a lot of those guys had a chance again to show what they're made of, and I don't think they did. They really didn't. So when I noticed that what's his name, Sam Cane, was coming home injured, I thought, okay, because I didn't see him go off injured. Did you?
No, I think it happened. I think towards the end of the game, but no, I didn't see him go off injured, and so pretty. Look, hey, credit to his toughness there. I mean, fractured cheekbone. That isn't nice at all. But to stay on the field, good credit to him. But it's really unfortunate. Sam Cane at one stage was a very very good All Black, and certainly no one had any qualms at all about him being All Black captain. But then neck injury, surgery, and we've mentioned it over and over. He's just hasn't been that same dominant player, and your All Black captain has to finish the game. I just don't see why you pick someone who you're going to be subbing off, someone who maybe isn't the number one in their position, and that's what they've done with Sam Cane. Unfortunately, here's a chance now for us to all the naysayers and the negative people around Sam Cane. Here's a chance for us to finally prove ourselves by saying Dalton Papali'i deserves a start. So here's a chance for him to really, really cement his position.
Yeah. Well, I did notice he pulled out the peroxide and gave himself a bit of a blonde hairdo workover. but
There's
yeah,
no mistaking who he is now.
no, but you do have to what do you call it? Give big shout out to Jamie Joseph and Tony Brown and that. they've definitely, when you think, 20 years ago, they were being beaten by 140 points to come back and have the opportunity to beat the ABs. You know, Japanese rugby's come a long way, but we should never have only won by 7 points.
But isn't it? This is the crazy thing, and we've mentioned this before on this platform too. Why is it all of a sudden under Ian Foster's reign are all these other teams getting better? We said, oh, credit to Ireland. Man, oh boy, they've come a long way. Oh, credit to Argentina. Oh, gee, they're doing really, really well. They've come a long way. Now we're saying the same thing to Japan. Scotland has never beaten us in a test match. So now we're going to be saying, oh, Scotland's come a long way. Oh, well, let's just accept it. Why are we suddenly accepting that the All Blacks have come back to the pack? We're making excuses by saying the rest of the pack has caught up to us. To me, it's just, I don't know, it's unacceptable. That was an un-All Black-like performance. We just don't expect the All Blacks to be that inconsistent, do we?
No. And I'm sorry about Mills Miliana to say he could handle a Scotland loss.
Yeah, I
Really?
heard that. I was like, oh, come on, mate. Give yourself an uppercut.
I know.
Absolutely.
And now they're saying, I heard them say yesterday, we're off to, Millennium Stadium or Principality Stadium, whichever name it goes by this week. And it's always a tough place to go. Okay. Wasn't the last time we lost was 1953?
1953, exactly. Yeah, there's been a few close calls over the years, but yeah, 1953.
Ellis Park
hey, look,
is
there's
a tough
firsts.
place.
There's a lot of firsts with this current All Black squad. There's a lot of firsts. So, hey, this could be another one they can add to their bow and say, hey, cool, man, we've got another first. We're the first ones to lose to Wales since 1953. We're the first ones to lose to Scotland ever. Add that to the first ones to lose to Ireland in a test series, the first ones to lose to Argentina, the first ones to get within 7 points or let Japan get within 7 points of you. I mean, far out. How much more mediocrity do we want to take and accept? It's just, to me, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, because it was also going to Ellis Park, a tough place to go. We're on a 4-game now winning streak at Ellis Park. I don't understand why the mainstream media is trying to spin doctor, this is a tough place to go. No, it's not. We've got the track record at these stadiums. Twickenham? Yeah, maybe. But not, Cardiff Arms Park. Really, let's be honest about it. So yeah, it is interesting. It'll be interesting to see who they pull out against the Welsh this weekend, and of course at the same time we've got the All Blacks 15 playing the Ireland A team, and there's about 8 or 9 Irish guys in their test team that are in that Ireland A game, and if we look at the New Zealand team that's there. Sure, we've got TJ Perenara. It's a good mix of players. Where did I have it? I had it here a second ago.
I think Bryn Hall hit it on the head. I don't know if you watched the breakdown, and they interviewed Bryn Hall, and him being a former Crusader and just saying how top heavy that New Zealand 15 is with Crusaders, with Jason Ryan's influence in there. And putting in, and again, I don't want to bag anybody, but I'm just using Brodie McAllister as an example as a hooker that made the New Zealand 15. I mean, there's other hookers around that I believe deserve to be in there. Now, Jason Ryan may know Brodie McAllister, he may know of his potential, etc. But this isn't a team that we're building for potential. This is a reward for selection or for performances. Someone like Kurt Eklund to me is far and away a better hooker and has done more on the national stage than Brodie McAllister has done. Just because Jason Ryan, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but it is just top heavy with these people. Like you look at them and you go, oh wow, who's this guy? Where's he come from? Oh well, I know him because I've seen him at training, or he shows some potential. To me, that's not a New Zealand 15.
Well, that is true, and I have to agree with our good friend Chelsea Semple on the breakdown show this week. You know what we're going through now with some injuries in the ABs and stuff like that. This is the time for this to be happening. Imagine us having this conversation in 10 months' time before a World Cup. All of a sudden, all our top line players are dropping off. So this is a good time for a lot of this to be happening because I look at it as we're starting to weed out the guys that aren't fit enough to be there, you know. And if we can end up going to this World Cup as major underdog, which we shouldn't be, but with a team of guys that battle prepared, that's all but good. So, but yeah, I mean, but you know, this game against Wales for the All Blacks this weekend. I mean, I'm just going to come straight out and say a 30-point win to the All Blacks, mainly because though Wales don't have Bigger, Liam Williams, Wyn Jones, Leon Brown, Seb Davis, Johnny Williams, Josh Navidi, Tane Bolsham, all out due to injuries. There's half their number one squad gone. And there's also George North, Lee Halfpenny, Gareth Anscombe, Alex Cuthbert, and Josh Adams, who have injury concerns.
Oh yeah, I didn't realise that. That's bad news for Wales for sure. But the problem with this current AB squad is that the inconsistencies. It certainly wouldn't surprise me if we run up 50 points against Wales, but again, it certainly wouldn't surprise me if we lose. That's just we just don't know where we're at with this team, with this squad, with their top 15, and what game they're going to bring. You know, there's all this talk around. Oh, they're saved. They've got something up their sleeve now. There were moments in that Japan game of brilliance, absolute brilliance. There was one long line-out throw that Tuivasa-Sheck caught on the fly, flicked it inside to Sevu Reece, try time. There's another one, the offloads, the continuity with another try. I think it might have been, again, RTS, Braden Enor, the skills, the hands, just brilliant, a brilliant try. And then you just see this absolute incompetence of them getting caught behind the advantage line time and time again, kicking the ball away aimlessly. Having no real answers to that swarming defence of Japan, and so the highs and the lows following this All Black team, it's enough to give you a heart attack or myocarditis, mate.
Well, true. And what is wrong with our lineouts? I've never seen us lose so many.
Blessing, sorry, mate. There's a little blessing in disguise again. Yeah, Sam Cane and Brodie Retallick. I'm assuming Brodie Retallick's probably going to be out for a couple of weeks. To me, that's a blessing in disguise. Brodie Retallick, to me, is a legend. Still is. He will be the starting lock at the World Cup next year. But it gives us an idea around what Tupou Vaa'i can bring. We already know what Scott Barrett brings, but we need to be bringing up along another new set of second rowers because Whitelock and Retallick have been there so long, they're going to be gone soon. We get another injury, we get a suspension, we get an injury of Sam Whitelock, all of a sudden we're in trouble. And so where's that depth?
Oh, totally. I mean, it is. It's sort of like, it's just, I mean, who have we got in this second 15? We've got Josh Dixon. I'm just looking at the squad name here, trying to figure out who's who here. Christian Leo Willie, is it?
I've lost track of who's gone up and who's gone down.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Dominic Gardner.
Where's Quinton Strange? What's happened to him? He was a one-test All Black. I don't know. He got dragged in. Is he injured? Is he?
Grace.
Yeah, Cullen Grace. I mean, Josh. Is it Josh Lord? Is he? He's injured, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. Well, I rated him for he's out. So I mean, are we really that short in New Zealand of second rowers? Because I mean, I don't know what's going on. I didn't even know what that New Zealand 15 involves now. Is it a New Zealand second team? Is it a A team? Is it just a jaunt for your TJ Perinaras who are at the end of their give them a bit of a tour away and give them an All Black jersey or a New Zealand jersey? I don't know.
Well, here's a question. Dominic Bird, that guy that plays for Wellington that hold the Ranfurly Shield and the Rugby Cup. you know, he's the first one that pops into my head, you know,
Yeah.
really. And so it is. It's interesting. I mean, we all know that this New Zealand 15 has gone over there as injury cover for the ABs. You
Yeah.
know, they're just there, and we'll give them a couple of games while they're here, keep the match fit, you know. But I've had enough talking about them. Let's talk about the real rugby and the Black Ferns, eh?
Well, you hit it on the head, the real rugby. I would be really interested to know how many people actually watched the Black Ferns live and then the All Blacks recorded. Yeah, so I mean, the hard part there for me was that the Black Ferns, yeah, they were live. Sorry, they were free to air on TV3, and I would assume most people would have watched that because a lot of people haven't, subscribed to the Spark Sport channel, which is a real shame because to me the Black Ferns in the World Cup certainly took priority over the All Blacks on a money fest in Japan. But the big test is this weekend, and I hope that all rugby fans are going to tune in because this is going to be pretty epic. If you look at the Black Ferns' last two results, against Australia and Wales, and you look at England's last two results against Australia and Wales, they're very, very comparative. So if you get an idea of to the form of the two teams, that they're very much on a par. And so then England then just beat France. France beat the Black Ferns twice last year. So there's so many different, permutations and scenarios around this game. It's really intriguing, isn't it? So this is a do or die. If we can beat France, and we can put in a really solid performance, then that World Cup certainly within the grasp because we take on England and then all of a sudden it's anybody's game. So this weekend is going to be huge, absolutely huge, and I hope everyone supports it.
Yeah, well, I did exactly that. I watched the Japan game and then had all my devices turned off and then just went over and watched it live on TV3. Did not know what was going on, did not know anything because I wasn't looking at my phone, wasn't looking at the computer, and it was just like watching it live. So I was able to sit back and enjoy it because the good thing, though, this weekend is that both semi finals will be live on free to air. Whether or not it will be live or 5 minutes delayed live, we won't know until the game actually starts. But the French, yeah, I last week said Italy. The only reason I said Italy was because France had a couple of injuries and major injuries. And I thought, okay, are they falling over at the last couple of hurdles here? And then they went and put a performance against the Italians like they did. And I go, no, they are still a threat. So last week, the French National Defence Force women beat New Zealand 9-8 at the International Defence Force Champions ships in Auckland. In the final, I thought New Zealand were going to win that, and we ended up with a 2011 World Cup score reversed to 9-8, not 8-7. And then we've got this game this weekend, and I think what superlatives can you give Portia Woodman? I mean, if she's on song, it's 20-point win to the Black Ferns, and because she is just, I think if she does not pick up New Zealand Rugby Player of the Year, both men and women combined, I mean, she's just magic. I love Portia Woodman. There you go.
Yeah, she has. She's got the size. She's not overly big, but she's very solid. You look at the hips and the legs. She's very powerful. She's quick, but she's evasive as well. You see her fast feet, and then she's got the outside break, which is again you don't even see that a lot in the male players. And the express pace with their size and her power. I mean, she's unstoppable. She really is, and she's really great to watch. But the key thing here is that the insides are getting the ball to her, and this is where I think the Black Ferns have set themselves just that little bit apart from the other teams. your England and your France are going to be very, very strong up front. So it does come down to, what the pitch is going to be like. And the weather forecast all week is going to be fine. They're going to have a dry pitch that's going to be fine, and it's going to suit the Black Ferns style of game because they're going to want to play a fast game. They want to try and keep it away from that tight confrontation with France and England. And the ball skills want to be able to execute. The forwards are offloading. They're doing little wee tip passes as they're going into contact. Other teams aren't doing that. They're just one off the ruck. So I think that's going to be really, really beneficial for the Black Ferns to see how this weather plays out.
Oh, totally. And what is the weather forecast for Auckland this weekend? Do you know?
The forecast is very good. It's fine all week. So, I can't see any rain in the forecast at all. So, that's going to be key, I think, in how they play their game.
Okay, prediction? Without seeing a team?
I definitely think the Black Ferns are going to beat France. I'm not using my heart there at all. I'm going with my head. I actually genuinely think the Black Ferns have improved so much that I think they will run France around. I think that our forward pack is strong enough. I'm not going to say they're going to dominate France, but they're strong enough to not be dominated. And that's going to give us enough of a platform to sort of unleash our running game. Our kicking game is very good. So the key thing there is who do they put at the back? That's going to be something for me. Whether they put Renee Holmes there or Ruby Tui. I think Ruby Tui can attack back very well, but has she got the kicking game that Renee Holmes has got? And Renee Holmes is a very good attacking player as well. So if they go with Renee Holmes at the back, then do they use Ruby Tui and Portia Woodman, or do they stick with Aisha Leti Inga? I think I can't quite remember how to pronounce her name, but she's been one of the form wingers of the year, hasn't she, Aisha? So it'd be tough to drop Ruby Tui, so with him to put at the back there. What was that? Sorry, mate.
I said, good Wellington girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Winger.
Yep.
Again, yeah. So okay, so I'll back the Black Ferns all the way. I'll never back against any New Zealand team, even if we're on the back foot going into competition. So I'll say the Black Ferns by 12.
Yeah, I'd tend to agree with that. I think it'll be quite tough early on. I wouldn't be surprised maybe even if France are up at half time. But again, it comes down to that skill level, fitness levels, and I think the Black Ferns have just improved out of sight from, let's forget the Northern Hemisphere tour last year. That's a different outfit. This team's fully professional. They got different coaching staff. They got different players, and so I'm really, really looking forward. This is the acid test. My one concern is that the Black Ferns haven't really been tested. Because we've played Australia God knows how many times, and we've had a fairly, I wouldn't say an easy run-in, whereas France and England, they played each other in pool games, so that really has set a good platform for them. When we're under the pump, or if we're under the pump, then we've got to ask some questions around our experience and how do we absorb that pressure, etc. So that's my one concern. But I think once we absorb that, certainly we can run away with it second half. That's my prediction.
Yep. No. Well, Keith Tracy has just said that in his opinion that Holmes shouldn't be a starter. Well,
shouldn't be or should be.
That suggests she is anything from that. Well, okay. Haven't seen anything from Holmes that she suggests she is a starter. Well,
I think possibly what Keith's referring to is. I think Keith may be referring to that first game against Australia where Renee, in her own opinion, she had a bit of a shocker. It was just starstruck, mate. The moment got to her. She missed a couple of tackles. Prior to that, she was outstanding, and her FBC form for Waikato was outstanding. I highly rate Renee Holmes. She's got a good boot. She's got a good kicking boot. From 40 metres out, she can nail it. So that's an option for the Black Ferns as well. So again, who they go with, I don't know. Whoever they go with, I don't think they're going to let us down. Put it that way. But yeah, I look a, you know, I highly rate Renee Haynes, but I rate Ruby Tui at fullback as well. So they've got a bit of a problem there in their selections.
Oh, totally. Definitely a star-studded lineup. So then what we'll look at is, will the Canadians give the English a battle, or is it their final?
Yeah, the Canadians. I mean, that Canada USA game was interesting because the USA actually competed really, really well for the first half. And then Canada just sort of tended to pull away in that second half. I predict it'll probably go much the same way. I think Canada will come out and they're going to throw everything on the line, and England will absorb it. But I think England will be too classy, and it'll be 25 points, I think.
Wow. Yeah, because I mean the thing is, it's sort of like, you you look at the Pac 4 and all that, and
Hang on, I just got to go to the door. Hang on a sec. Be 2 seconds.
Yep. No, that's all good. So yeah, so as Jeff was answering the door, if you have any questions, throw them in like Keith has done, and yeah, we've still got plenty here to chat about. We've got Heartland 15 to talk about, and also to talk about our Health and Sports Network. That's okay.
Oh, that's the thing with doing live Zooms at home. Courier comes, I'm thinking, man, not. My daughter's just come out before trying to make breakfast. I'm like, come on, man, I need my own little space. It's all good. Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, but no, that's all good. I know about couriers when they come and knock on the door so quietly. So if any couriers are actually watching this, please knock on the door. I mean, I don't know how often I've gone out to the car or something like that, opened up the door and almost tripped over a parcel at the doorstep. Been home all day, did not hear a knock on the door.
Yeah.
Biggest gripe at the moment, that is for me, especially with Coralie buying all this stuff online. Yeah, so otherwise, games kick off at 4:30 Saturday. So as I said, live on TV3. So that'll be great, and hopefully they get a crowd at Eden Park, the National Stadium, because I'll tell you what, one thing we haven't touched on yet is Heartland Championship. We can still crow about it. There was a bigger crowd, I think, at Whakarua Park a couple of weeks ago than what we have been seeing at Eden Park and NPC games.
Yeah, well, that comes back to that tribalism, doesn't it? And I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, why on earth would you want to rent out Eden Park for Auckland to have 5,000 people there? I mean, why can't they go out to Waitakere or even North Harbour Stadium? I mean, the old days at Oniwa Domain. You pack Oniwa Domain, it'd be tight, it'd be close to the fields. So I mean, there's a lot to be said around these venues where you're basically standing on the sidelines and you got that atmosphere there. These huge empty stadiums, they don't do anything for me at all.
Well, no, and you also look at what South Canterbury have been doing because they couldn't play at Fraser Park this year. The atmosphere at Pleasant Point for the semi-final and the final. The guy scores a try, and next thing he's literally in the crowd. He's with the people, hugging and cheering and all that. So after South Canterbury won the Meads Cup, I did a quick look. The last Meads Cup champions get automatic Ranfurly Shield challenge. And is that my phone ringing?
Don't people know we're doing this live? Just leave us alone, man.
Hang on, while using this app. Hang on. Hello? What's going on here? Sorry, I'll quickly take this call. Nigel. Good. Do you want to jump on, or are you too busy?
Another one. Good on them. That'll be good.
No, you can do it on your phone. It does work. Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically, if you just click, because I'm just with Jeff now, I will mute myself and Jeff will continue talking.
So we're going to introduce Nigel, the coach, the head coach of the Heartland 15. So this will be an interesting chat. And if anybody's got any questions, just put it into the comments and we'll ask. I'm not too up to date as to who they're playing, where they're playing, and when they're playing. So Kevin will have to be the judge of that. But yeah, no, should be an interesting chat. So ask a few questions, see where we're at. The beauties of live streaming. Dogs barking, couriers, children coming out making breakfast. It's all good fun. We need our own professional studio, I think.
So yes, I'm just deciding try and get our special guest on the line, Jeff. So we'll just hang fire for half a second. He is travelling from Rotorua to Taupo at the moment on a bus, and this is why I don't like iPhones.
Was he going to come on his phone, like on video on his phone? Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So the StreamYard app is
go with Facebook.
What's that?
So this could, if this all works, people, we've got a very special guest about to hopefully show up, and yeah, so watch this space. And because I'm listening to the phone, Jeff, it's not letting me hear what you're saying.
Oh. That's all good, mate. All part of the Health and Sports Network.
Yeah, no,
here
that's
on the Local Wellman platform.
Yep, okay. And I'm just sitting here looking at the green room now. Entering studio. Let's hope this all works. It'd be great if it does, because I do have a few questions in regards what we're up to. Okay. No, not yet. I'm sitting here waiting.
So he's on a bus with the team, is he?
Yeah, no, well, hang up the phone now, but just carry on doing what you're doing, and as soon as I see you, I'll bring you in. Okay, it might be because we're on this call. That is the reason why it hasn't kicked in yet. So we'll try. Okay, mate. All right, cheers. Bye.
This is all new, isn't it? We've got to sort of work out this platform because we want to get guests on here as well and be able to roll it over.
Okay, here we are. So nothing better than live TV. So hopefully in the next few moments, we will have a special guest on, which will be great because what we'll do, and apologies for that, people, but yeah, is New Zealand Heartland 15. That's why I've got the Owen Delaney Park in our background today. But they play this weekend against the New Zealand Police. And a couple of questions if we do. Oh, here he comes. So
here we go.
Here we go. I will remove the overlay. Welcome, Nigel Walsh, coach of the New Zealand Heartland 15. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, team. I'm all right, thank you very much. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We're just travelling Rotorua to Taupo.
Oh, okay. And how's it all looking for this weekend?
Oh, look, we've got a really good squad right across the board, really. Very strong. Obviously, the two teams in the Meads Cup final. We've got a big number of players in the squad. And then, obviously, Mid-Canterbury and East Coast have got representation as well. So a lot of players that played last weekend are involved in this short campaign for the New Zealand Heartland.
Okay. Jeff, do you have any questions from a coach to a coach? And
Yeah,
you know Jeff, Nigel.
G'day, Nigel. Jeff here, mate. Hey, I do have a question. Did you select the team yourself, or did you get some advice around from the All Blacks, let's say Fozzie and what have you? I mean, how did the selection process come about?
With the New Zealand Heartland squad, you get nominations from each provincial union. Then we look at those players during the year. I had about 6 or 8 spotters working in cohesion with us during the season to watch these players. Then we had Zoom calls Monday evenings to talk about all these players in hand. And when it got down to the nitty-gritty end, we cut it down to about 4 of us to select the playing 23 and the 10 non-travelling reserves as well. So we had outside help. We had knowledge of likes of Jose Aguirre, Earl Curtin, Jace Forrest, North Otago. So there were some good people all around that come on board and helped us.
Excellent. That sounds like a good process. So, and has the NZRU been really supportive around, compensation and funds and helping you out around transport, accommodation and gear, etc.? Or do you feel as though that you've been left behind a little bit?
Oh, no comment.
Sorry, we just cut in and out there a wee bit. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. I'll repeat my question. Hopefully you can hear it. With the Silver Lake deal and the millions of dollars going into the NZRU coffers and the All Blacks playing in Japan and the All Black brand, have you guys been looked after by the NZRU around funding and compensation, accommodation, transport, gear, etc.? Or do you feel as though that you've been left in the cold a bit?
Oh, look, we would love to have had a couple of games. There was a little bit of sort of miscommunication, or however you like to call it. We'd love to have had a couple of games. It's only a 1-game campaign against New Zealand Police in Taupo this year. Look, for me as a coach, and I'm sure for the provincial union and union as well, they would have loved to have seen 2 games being played and a couple of worthy games. When the boys are putting the black jersey on for the first time, it means a hell of a lot. Provinces as well. So, hey, look, all travel, accommodation, and everything's looked after well. A bit more game time, on field time for the boys, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
I understand it.
Yeah, no, well, first off, though, Nigel, congratulations on back-to-back Meads Cup victories with South Canterbury. Just before you came on, I was just about to mention we were talking about crowds and where games should be played, etc. Are you aware that the last time South Canterbury played Wellington was in 1980 at the Petone Recreation Ground in Division 1, 43 years ago? No, 43 years since South Canterbury played Wellington. Are you looking forward to the Shield Challenge next year? Oh, don't we love live crossovers? Did you pick that up?
Yeah, I've only got sort of bits and pieces of that. Sorry, Rex.
Oh, that's okay. I'll try again. 43 years since the South Canterbury played
it's going to
Wellington.
be a big challenge next year. Going back to back was pretty unreal and pretty special.
No, that's all cool. And because we're having technical issues.
Yeah, like going back to back was pretty special for the boys.
Yeah. Oh, no, we've lost them. Oh, okay, that was great. I mean, thank you, Nigel. I was trying to actually find out why West Coast and Buller didn't have any players in there, but hey, it was awesome to see that we had Nigel Walsh, New Zealand Heartland coach, on there. And what I got from that was they are disappointed they got one game. That they should have had more, Jeff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, they're a New Zealand rep team. They've been picked. It's a representative team, and I would expect that they would be, certainly playing. I mean, the New Zealand Police, yeah, that's great, but I mean, it doesn't really pull at the heartstrings, does it? I'd rather they played maybe another New Zealand NPC team. I mean, even a third 15 or something or other. I mean, again, it's just all New Zealand under 20s or New Zealand under 23s or something like that. But New Zealand Police, I mean, no disrespect to the New Zealand Police, but it doesn't really sort of pull at the heartstrings, does it?
No, and I've said this once, I've said this a few times now, that I believe it was a missed opportunity. The game's been played in Taupo. King Country and Thames are having their centenaries this year. Like, they have put together combined teams before, and we've got the man back. So I'll be able to ask the question. Okay, the question was this, Nigel. Where are the Buller and West Coast representatives in the Heartland team?
Oh, look, there was a couple of players nominated. We got a few nominations from the union over there. And the players that nominated were in positions that we had other players that were standing up and showing more precise than those. So if we're picking a New Zealand side, you've got to pick the ones that are in the best positions. So bad, it's hard, but we can't pick everybody.
True. Now, I was just saying to Jeff, one of the, I think it was a missed opportunity, was the game's being played in Taupo. Could they have not looked at a Thames King Country combined team to celebrate their centenary to take on the best of Heartland?
Look, I would have looked forward to any other team to come and play a second game against us. There was talk about another Barbars team that was proposed, but that was shut down because of the time frame that we had and just getting things organised. So any second game would have been welcome from us.
No, that's true. So what is with a game like this, what are you looking at achieving with the group as an entire, as a group? What's your things that you can go tick moving forward?
Oh, look, I just want to do all the Heartland provincial unions proud. We've been given a job to go out and represent all the provincial Heartland unions and all of our supporters, our sponsors and things like that love watching Heartland rugby week in, week out. So we're going out to do all of our unions, not just the unions that we've come from, but every Heartland union that's involved in the Heartland campaign. We're going out there to do them proud and show that it's a worthy campaign and that Heartland rugby is important to New Zealand rugby, and we want to go and do ourselves proud.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Hey, Nigel, just a quick question from coach to coach. With a one-off campaign, it must be so hard. Obviously, number one, getting your top 15, but making sure that you're keeping everybody happy with some game time. And you really can't do that, I guess, with a large squad. Are you conscious of trying to give everybody game time, or number one, are you trying to get the win first? And then with combinations, are you going with set combinations from the Heartland Championship, trying to bring them through to your team? How do you approach that in a week like this? So it must be very difficult.
Oh, we've got faith in the whole 23 that we've picked, and everybody will get game time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have picked them, So whoever comes on and goes up to speed with the game and the game we want to play, and carry on the game we're trying to play at the time. So everybody will get game time. It's picking that starting 15 is going to be tough. But once again, it's about the game that we want to play and how we see the players situated in those positions that are going to fit the team first. And that's what it's got to be about. It's got to be about the team, not about themselves. And we've got to go out there and put a performance on that we're all very proud of.
Cool. And moving forward for yourself, so I see this morning that young Josh Sims is the new head coach for Old Glory in the United States. So have you had any phone calls from the Major League Rugby in the USA to take your talents up that way?
Oh, look, it'd be silly not to say that you'd be having a look around to see what's going on. I've done 4 years with South Canterbury now and 3 years with North Otago, so that's 7 years in the Heartland competition. So, you've got to keep your options open and it's about challenging yourself to see where you can go and what you can achieve as well. So, I've got to keep myself sort of challenged and moving forward. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying every minute I am coaching in Heartland as well. So we'll just see what happens over the next few months, get this campaign out of the road and then we'll have a breather over Christmas or reassess before Christmas and see what happens.
Oh,
Who's on your coaching panel, Nigel? Who's part of your coaching team there? Are you an overall head coach, and then do you have a forwards coach, back coach, defence coach, skills? How's the setup down there?
Yeah, well, I've got myself as the head coach and Jason Hamlin from Wanganui. He's my assistant coach, so he's the back coach. And then I'll turn the phone sideways here and we've got the trainer driving the car here. There's our trainer, that's Slade, so he's in the back. And then on the back here, we've got our physio, Jeff Thompson. So there's the three of the management team driving to the campaign. And then, of course, we've got the managers and Thomas Zimmerman from Horowhenua Kapiti. And we've got Cole Campbell, our doctor. So we've got a good mix of the management team, ranging from South Canterbury, Wanganui, Horowhenua Kapiti, Wairarapa Bush. And so, yeah, there's a good mix there.
Excellent. Because I was just saying when you went off air before around, it is disappointing you've only got the one game. You get this team together, you spent so long reviewing video footage and Zoom calls, you've got the New Zealand Heartland team there, and all of a sudden you've only got the one game. So how do we then convince New Zealand Rugby to take this a step further next year and maybe send you guys overseas on a tour even around the islands? That would be, to me, that would just be pretty cool to go and play Fiji, Samoa, Tonga in a week, do the island slam with the Heartland team. I mean, obviously you've got to put in a performance this weekend and stamp your mark and put your hand up for next year. But how do we go around convincing NZRU that we've got to take this a bit more seriously?
Oh, look, it was interesting. I was talking to Matt Cooper after we played Wanganui at Cook's Garden, and he played the New Zealand divisional side, and we were talking to him about it. And when he played for the New Zealand divisional side, which was called back in the day, he went through the islands, the three islands, and said how fantastic it was and how a stepping stone it is. So the New Zealand Rugby Union does have to have a look at it, and maybe with the Silver Lake deal now, the New Zealand Heartland side may get a chance to go over the States and show our wares and true colours and put a performance on over in the States to sort of strengthen that relationship over there.
Absolutely, because it's a stepping stone for these young fellas as well, isn't it? I mean, everybody's going to be watching this game on Saturday, and these other NPC sides, they'll be probably putting their hand in the pot saying, hey, I like that guy. But not only that, as you said, Major League Rugby, there's all these other opportunities overseas for these players. Not that we want to lose them from New Zealand, obviously, but for all of these guys, that's an amazing opportunity, and for yourself as well too, Nigel. So all the best this weekend.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it, and we just want to go and do everybody proud, especially in the Heartland provincial unions. We're there representing all those unions, and we'll be doing our best to make sure we do them proud.
No, well, that's awesome. The game is on Sunday. It is live on Sky, so if you can't get down to Owen Delaney Park, support the boys. Hey, Nigel, thank you very much for your call, taking the call, and all the best to the entire team and management for this weekend.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All the best, Nigel.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, guys.
So, yay! Our second, because we've had other guests on before, but it's awesome to have a person of Nigel's caliber on the show, and it just goes to show you that the show's growing. we're getting some important people on that can answer some interesting questions. And the interesting part of that I picked up was Heartland going on tour to the USA.
Yeah, well, I mean, they should. I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm worried about is that we're becoming Americanized. And I lived in the USA for 5, 6 years. And, the American supporters there, they love it, man. They buy the merchandise, they go to the games, they're rah, rah, rah. But it's just that top level, and that's it. So if you're a Packers fan, man, you got your Packers jersey, you go to the Packers stadium, you sit there, you drink your beer and eat your popcorn and your meat pie and what have you. And that's it. You're not active. There's no second tier or third tier. They go to college, and then after college, if you don't get drafted, that's it. I'm worried that we're just so top heavy with our obsession with the All Blacks that we're losing that grassroots. And once you lose the grassroots in the schools and what have you, you haven't got a game. And so we've got to invest in teams like Heartland and get them on TV, get people going, well, this is pretty, hey, this young fella's good. Gee, that East Coast number 12, he's pretty he's outstanding. What's going on here? So, this is what we want. But I am worried. They've sent them down to Taupo to please the Heartland supporters and give them a game against New Zealand Police. Come on, man. Not good enough.
No. And with you saying that, also coming out of the Kremlin this morning is the news of the new tackle trial for next year in all community rugby, secondary school rugby, and senior club rugby. Have you seen it?
I saw a little glimpse of it, and I just thought, oh man, it's that whole thing. It's like my son at the moment's training he's doing kickboxing training, right? And it's like him going to training and saying, look, come join kickboxing, but you're not allowed to hit anybody in the head. Okay, well, is it kickboxing then? Not to say we're deliberately hitting people in the head, and we've got to have some safety in the game. But at the end of the day, it is rugby union. And if you don't like rugby union, go and play basketball, go and play your soccer, go and do something else, play your touch rugby. But rugby union has an element of physicality about it that is very, very hard to change that mindset, especially at full speed. You break down these tackles in slow motion and you think, oh, you could have got there. Well, in real speed, it is hard. And you start taking that mentality to a softer mentality, then you I shouldn't say destroying the game, but you're certainly, the standard is lowered. So I don't know. My jury's out.
Well, when they brought in a few changes a couple of years ago around the tackle and the high tackles and all this sort of stuff, one thing I do remember saying is watch the amount of head injuries we're going to have now. Because you had guys coming in, taking everyone out, and now you see guys coming into tackles, bringing their heads down. It's almost like they're hunting for the penalty. You know what I mean? Now we're going to have a case scenario of the first tackler has to tackle below the sternum, but the second tackler, open season. So we're going to see this double team thing happen a lot more. The wind taken out and then around the shoulders. It will be an interesting observation to make. But then it only goes up to senior club level. Representative teams are picked from where? They're picked from club level. So not only do they now spend the next 2 or 3 years doing this new tackling format, but then they have to go into representative, and then they can tackle up to the shoulder. I can understand where they're coming from. I can truly understand where they're coming from.
I think they have to. But there's got to be deliberate and malicious. If it's deliberate and malicious, on the field straight away, oh, that was deliberate and malicious, or that's a complete accident. I go back to Tuangawhasi with that late cut against Ireland there. That was not deliberate and malicious. That was a complete and utter accident. It was an accidental head clash. And they should have read that at the time and said, look, dude, come on, man. This is a centre, number one, on a prop, changing directions at full speed. At best, at worst, probably a yellow card. But to red card, I can't remember. It was a yellow, red, I can't remember. The same thing, charging down a ball. you got your eyes on the ball, you go up, you try to charge down a ball, and your hip hits someone's head. Well, that's not deliberate and malicious. But again, there's others that are deliberate and malicious where you just think, man, that was stupid. No arms, going in with the shoulder, you're dropping your shoulder. Well, then you make that decision. But to actually try and go and just generically rule that out of the game, it destroys the game of rugby union as a physical game as it is.
Yeah, and you saying that, if I think back to that England-Australia quarter-final, there was one part there, I can't remember if it was an Australian or an English girl actually, but someone got cleared out and there was head contact. But the referee went, oh, it was the English girl. But what happened was she was actually then had been sort of impeded by an Australian girl falling over. Any other day, that might have been a red card. But the way she looked at that referee that looked at that and said, no, it's yellow because I see the Australian girl impeded and that's what caused the incident. So that was great. Yes, it was an accident. Yes, there was mitigating circumstances, which is the new word. So, I mean, yeah, I know all the unions are behind this. I know it's all about safety. But then they say it's going to make for a faster game. I can't see how it's going to be faster, especially if you get two guys coming in at the same time for the tackle. One goes high, one goes low, and you get it wrong. And then what? We have to have a 5-minute discussion on who tackled first, or. So yeah, it would be interesting.
Referee and exactly. 5-minute discussion. Let's look at another angle. Can you slow that down again for me? So oh my god.
Yeah. So and then you're saying about the school kids and all that doing other stuff. So we've also, there is actually quite a lot for us to talk about, but we like to keep the show at an hour. So but we've got this situation now in Auckland with the secondary schools not doing the TV because all the principals came out and said, no, we're not going to do it. We've had 12 years of this. We've had 12 years of watching all these privileged Auckland schools getting on TV. You're watching the games. They've got Land Rover, BMW, all these sponsorships around the grounds. So if they're not on TV anymore, where they're getting their funding to fund their programs? And secondly, is it just time for them to show the Central North Island, the Christchurch competition, the top 8 comps? Because there is a lot more than Auckland secondary school rugby and all the top schools there. There's a lot of school rugby that's actually really enjoyable to watch. But for them to also turn around and say, there'll be no live streaming, there'll be no interviews, there'll be nothing like that. So I've got a few journalist friends who are saying, we don't know if we can write a story about Joe Bloggs and him being in the first 15 and he's the next superstar, because you've brought it up with the Americans, these kids playing NFL and universities and stuff. But isn't it like not even 1% of them actually make NFL? I mean, that's the mentality we've got to have here. Not everyone from secondary school rugby is going to be the next All Black, but they still have a good career. They can still have a good career in NPC and Super Rugby or wherever they may go. So how are we meant to be seeing these guys if they're not even going to allow live streaming of these games on their own platforms?
Yeah, two trains of thought there. I mean, number one, you said how are we going to see? Who's we? It's just us, the public, really. I mean, they're going to be seen. They're going to be seen by the people that matter, and that's the selectors, I guess, that get around the country. They talk. But having said that, I mean, there's got to be some video footage there for these selectors to look at. I mean, if you've got a young, a Forest View High School boy down in the South Waikato, and he's outstanding, well, send me some video footage. Are you allowed to do that? So there's two trains of thoughts here, because back in my day, it was first 15 rugby wasn't on TV, and if it was, then it might be highlights of a major clash. It might be Auckland Grammar versus Kings, something like that. So if you've got these games on TV like this, it is really the major colleges, So I mean, I'd love to see a college down on the East Coast, a couple of colleges down there having a clash, first 15 rugby, etc. But of course, it is the elitist. It's considered elitist. The other train of thought then is that obviously you're setting these kids up for failure by exposing them on live TV. If they drop a ball, if they have a bad game, mentally how they're going to take that. So again, it should just be all around the enjoyment factor at that level. So again, two trains of thoughts. To me, it is, I had no problem watching it. I used to love watching it on TV, but why was it always the same teams and the same provinces, etc.? We didn't really go into those heartland provinces and watch any first 15 games from down south or way down deep south, wherever. It was always generally the same teams. So that sort of bothered me a bit. The fact you can't even live stream is a bit of an issue. I could understand them trying to take it off, free-to-air TV, and taking the pressure off these young kids. But certainly, I mean, if you wanted to watch, if you couldn't make a game, I mean, certainly you should be allowed to stream it, and it's not putting too much pressure on the kids there. But because the other avenue sets them up for that professionalism as well. But as you said, only a small percentage of them make that anyway. So do we really need to have it on TV?
Well, that's true. And my train of thought as well is, does that not go part of character building for these guys to learn and stuff like that, instead of being shuffled aside and thought, you lose, that's okay, nobody saw it.
Yeah, I guess at that age too, it's if we're gonna do any live TV I get it, I understand it. I don't think that at that age, at first 15 level, these kids need to be exposed, and they're pretty vulnerable. They're still learning how to play the game in a sense. Is there another level up? I mean, as we talked about the USA, they don't, it isn't high school football, because this is what this is. This is high school rugby. They do university football, and that's where they start. So they're just a couple of years older, just that little bit more mature, and they can handle that exposure. And so it is saturated over there in the US. So we don't want to keep comparing ourselves to them, but this is still high school kids. You got 15, 16, 17-year-old boys being exposed and being put under pressure there. So I do understand why they're trying to take that away from them. I would like to see some more club rugby on there live. Why not go to club rugby? That's the guts of it, isn't it? That's the tribalism. That's the grassroots. So maybe we could put club rugby live. Put a Silverdale versus East Coast Bays game live at 2:30 p.m. and that's the game of the day and live on Sky Sport, because there's a demand for afternoon rugby because all the top level rugby now is at night time. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and I mean, sure, we do get the main freight program on during the year that does highlight that, but having live club rugby would be awesome. So anyway, we've reached the top of the hour. So what we'll do in finishing up here is predictions. All Blacks, Wales.
All Blacks, 10 points.
I'll go 30. Only because the Welsh got all those injuries. Australia, England, I think it is, isn't
it? Australia.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If it is England, I'm sure it's England. I'll go England. New Zealand 15, Ireland A.
Ireland A. Sorry, don't like that New Zealand 15 at all.
Okay, well I'll go with the New Zealand 15 then by 7. Okay,
I'll go Ireland A by 10.
England Canada semi-final World Cup.
England 25.
Okay, I'll have to go then Canada. I have to go opposite, so one of us is going to be right. Black Ferns versus France.
Black Ferns 12.
Yeah, I'll say Black Ferns 13 plus. There we go. And Heartland 15 versus the New Zealand Police.
Heartland 15 by 120.
Wow. I'll go with that. I'll put a fiver on that. And who's your pick for the Melbourne Cup today?
Smokin' Romans, number 19 is the roughie, currently at about $18 a win. It is a Kiwi horse, had 2 winners in a row before it failed in its last start, but forget that because it's drawn wide and it is an out-and-out stayer. So there you go. You heard it here first.
Well, you heard it here. Well, oops, I was just quickly going to the field because I have got a horse in my brain, but I can't remember what it was now, so I'll just quickly jump to it. Because I posted it yesterday. I went, oh, there's a good name for a winning horse at the at the thing. Where was it? Here we go. Number 5, Numerian. I don't know what it's paying, but I just like the name. So yeah, the old. Oops, I've just lost our coverage here. Now where are we? Where have I gone? I've just opened up the wrong machine here.
You're still there, mate.
Where are you? Am I still here? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, because don't forget, I'm the one that picked West Coast to win the Meads Cup this year. So don't listen to mine, but I'll be putting a fiver on Numerian. So we'll sign off now. A huge thanks again to Nigel Walsh for joining us from the van on his way to Taupo. Thanks again, Jeff, for being with us. I'll get you to stick around for a minute. And until next week, catch us all later, and hopefully we've got a few victories and a World Cup final to look forward to. So talk to you all again next week, and ciao.
Ka kite.